G'day everyone, Tempo here and welcome to the TD Project. This is the next installment in my driving vlog series and I'm going to be talking about a road rule which I feel most Australian drivers aren't actually following and it's being loosely enforced by the police. Yet I reckon if everyone using Australian roads actually acknowledged and properly followed this rule, it would dramatically improve the overall flow of traffic. But no one wants to follow it, it seems. So what is this mystical rule that I'm talking about? Well, the rule is what I feel is pretty straightforward, and that is keep left unless overtaking. And it's the title of the rule pretty much just says it all, right? Just keep left unless overtaking. You drive on the left side of the road and then you go to the right side to overtake someone and then you move back to the left side. And if you're on the right side of the road and you're not overtaking anyone, you literally need to move back to the left. Keep left unless overtaking. I feel it's not that hard to understand how this rule works, yet most Australian drivers aren't actually following this rule. And it's probably due to one of a few reasons. Either Australian drivers don't actually know of the rule existing, or they don't actually understand how the rule properly works, or they've got their heads too far up their own arse to realise just how bad of a driver they actually are and the fact that they're blatantly ignoring how genuine rules actually work. Like I said in my previous video, if everyone acknowledged the rules and drove properly, there'd be a significant improvement in the overall flow of traffic. There'd be less traffic congestion and there'd be an improvement in road safety, and that would also bring down road rage. But no. People don't acknowledge the rules, they don't drive properly, and one of the key rules people keep ignoring is keep left unless overtaking. Now, I feel this is a straightforward rule. I'm just going to go into a little bit more depth with it. So, this rule applies in New South Wales specifically to every single multi-lane road that either has a speed limit of at least 80 kilometers an hour, or it has a sign that literally says keep left unless overtaking. That's how the rule works in New South Wales, and I imagine it works quite similarly in all the other states and territories of Australia. If there's any variation, please let me know in the comments below. But as far as New South Wales goes, that's how the rule works. Keep left unless overtaking on applicable roads, and these roads are the multi-lane roads which have a speed limit of at least 80 kilometers an hour, or there's a sign that literally says the rule on it. There's no change in the words. The words read as follows: keep left unless overtaking. Now, if you are an Australian which has gained your learner's permit, ranked up through the provisional licenses, and have finally achieved your full Australian driver's license in however long that has taken you, and you claim to have never seen one of these signs, one of the signs that reads keep left unless overtaking, you're full of crap. I don't believe you. I don't believe that you've gained your full Australian licence in Australia the proper way through ranking up the provisional licensing ranks to gain your full licence, and you claim you've never seen this sign. You're full of crap. Either you're full of crap, or you haven't got enough real world driving experience to actually qualify for a proper licence, or you're driving out there on Australian roads completely oblivious to any of the street signs you're looking at or that you've driven past. And if you're not full of crap, and it's one of the two latter reasons, someone help everyone else on the Australian roads, because that is a serious problem in its own right. Either you're not paying attention to what's going on around you, or you don't actually have enough practical experience to warrant you actually owning an Australian driver's licence. Now, back to the rule. I will grant it, there are some exceptions to the rule, such as being there's a hazard in the left lane and you need to move out of the left lane into the right lane to come back into the left lane to avoid such hazard, or you got a right turn coming up, you're going to turn right. But pretty much apart from that, the rule still stands. You need to keep in the left lane unless you are overtaking. So, let's give out some scenarios to help me explain this better. You're driving on a multi-lane road and multiple lanes are going in the same direction and you're in the right lane. There's no one in the left lane. You need to get out of the right lane and get into the left lane because you're not overtaking anyone. If you've got into the right lane to overtake someone and you've already gone past them and there's no one else for you to overtake, you need to get out of the right lane, get back in the left lane. I feel that's very simple, but people don't seem to quite comprehend that. Please, it's not that hard to understand. Other scenarios. Okay, let's say you're in the right lane and you're doing the speed limit, but you're still holding up traffic in the right lane. People want to overtake you, they want to speed and go past you, but you're already in the right lane, and yes, you might be overtaking people and you're doing the speed limit, but you're still holding up traffic. You need to stop holding up traffic, because I know it might be illegal for people to speed, but it's also just as illegal for you to hold up traffic and be driving in the right lane. So the moment you finish overtaking people, get back in the left lane. Just because you are maintaining the speed limit and stopping people from speeding doesn't mean you're doing the right thing per se. Yes, speeding is illegal, speeding is wrong, no one should be speeding, but you also need to acknowledge that there's another rule out there which states you need to keep left unless overtaking. So despite what speed you're going at, you need to then get out of the right lane once you finish overtaking. And also, while we're talking about speed, a shout out to all the people out there that drive in the right lane significantly under the speed limit. If you want to drive slow, not that I'm saying you should drive slow, but if you're going to drive slow, do Australia a favour and stay in the left lane. You're not overtaking anyone, you're not doing the world any favours, and you being overly cautious is actually not being safe, but I'll explain that in later videos to come. Please, get out of the right lane. Keep left unless overtaking. Do Australia a favour and just keep left unless overtaking. Now, let me break this down a bit more for you guys, because I feel there's still some areas with this rule that people don't seem to understand. Now, let's say there's at least 3 lanes going in the same direction. This rule actually applies to multiple lanes, pretty much every lane that is not the far left lane, despite what people believe. Some people actually think that this rule only applies to the far right lane. Well, you're wrong. It applies to every lane except the far left lane. Now let me explain. By rights, people should be driving in the left lane. And when they feel the need to overtake someone, they'll move to the next lane over, to the right, overtake that person, and move back into the left lane. That's how this should work. That's how driving should work on these applicable roads where the rule, keep left unless overtaking, applies. So, if you're in the left lane, and you come up to someone, and they're going a bit slower than you would like to go, you have the right to get into the next lane and overtake that person. And if that lane happens to not be the far right lane, that rule still applies. Let's say you're in the middle of these 3 lanes. The moment you overtake that person in the left lane, you need to then get out of the middle lane and get back into the left lane. And then the same will then apply to the next lane over. If you're in the middle lane and there's someone ahead of you that's going slower than you would like to go, you can get into the far right lane, overtake them, and then get back into the middle lane. But the moment you get back in that middle lane and there's no one for you to overtake in the left lane, or you have an opportunity to get back in the far left lane, you need to then get out of that middle lane and go back into the left lane. This rule applies to every lane except the far left lane. But no, people insist on driving in the middle lane, even if there's nothing in the left lane. If you're just sitting there in the middle of the freeway, in the middle lane, and there's no one on the left of you, you need to pull over. You need to get back in the left lane, because the rule pretty much says, as all the signs on that road probably say, keep left unless overtaking. This rule I feel is pretty straightforward for the most part, and this rule pretty much applies to practically every major freeway, most highways, and a ton of main roads. But people still cannot comprehend how this rule works, and even if they do comprehend how this rule works, they still insist on not following it, despite the fact that not following this rule is a finable offence. It warrants a financial penalty and demerit points against your licence. But the police don't deal this penalty out. They should, but they don't, because the police and the government are only concerned with 3 major road offences: speeding, drink driving, and mobile phone use. So to the government and to all the police officers out there, speeding, drink driving, and mobile phone use are not the only driving offences out there. If you're going to enforce those rules, you got to enforce all road rules. If you're going to make excessive public knowledge about those rules, you got to make public knowledge all the rules, alright? You can't just focus on these rules and then turn a blind eye to every other traffic offence that's happening right in front of you. That's not how it works. Can you imagine if the legal system was like, okay, we're only gonna publicly focus on the crimes of murder, arson, and larceny, and every other crime that happens to happen but does not fit in those categories, we're really not going to give a damn about it. Just imagine if that's how the legal system worked. That's not how it works. It should not work like that, and it should not work like that with regards to driving rules. Speeding, drink driving, and mobile phone use aren't the only driving offences out there, so dear Australian government, dear Australian police, in particular the New South Wales police, you gotta start enforcing this rule. Please start fining people, because if you start fining people that are breaking this rule, maybe the rest of Australia will wake up and they're like, damn, maybe keep left unless overtaking is a genuine rule, and I should keep left unless overtaking. But that's just what I think, and I like to think a lot of Australia actually thinks like that, but you guys let me know what you think. That's my bit for today. Let's see how we go in the future. Make sure you guys do all those YouTube things, like, comment, share, subscribe, be kind, rewind. Let me know what you think down below, honestly, because I want to generate some social discussion happening with regards to this road rule, how it works, and how people straight up aren't following it. And yeah, just be alright, be cool, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one, eh?